Yeah.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Mike,
How
good
you
to
doing?
see you.
Good to see you as well, man. Thanks for letting me come back in.
Absolutely. So, how have you been the last couple of weeks since we last met?
Good. Not as stressful of a week as that spring break week was. Still have a chaotic schedule and all this stuff going on, bunch of moving parts, but manageable.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good. How's your work going?
Good. It's been interesting because I'm doing this new center, that new drop-in center. It's like a youth community center after school hours, and we've been doing it for 3 weeks now. We haven't had a single kid show up, which has been kind of disheartening, but it's been good. Trying to figure out marketing stuff for that is always fun because it's a nonprofit, so marketing stuff it costs money, and then I bring up a marketing idea, and it's let's do this would be good. We don't have money, so we can't do it. So that's always been a thing, but it's been good. I think we're making progress a little bit with how to market it and how to get kids to come, but
Right.
yeah, it's been good.
So it's disheartening, like having children not be at something that you're putting
Yeah, a
all
little
this
bit.
effort.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm investing a lot of time into building this program up, and it's just not necessarily succeeding right now. Although, and we have volunteers and stuff, so we're doing well in that category. It's just the actual like getting kids in is kind of slow. But I mean, I kind of expected that at the start of it, but it's been a fun process trying to like work through and solve this problem that I've never really had to solve before. So
Right.
as hard as it has kind of been to kind of start to try and figure it out, it's also been a challenge, and I like challenges. So
Nice.
yeah.
So while it's disheartening that you haven't seen the fruit of your labor, it's you finding joy in the challenge.
Loving the process.
Yeah, loving the
You gotta love
process.
the process.
That's a
exactly.
good mental attitude.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been good.
So, is there any decisions that you need to make in that regard, or another area in your life?
I mean, not necessarily in that area of my life. I mean, trying to think. Well, there's two, I guess. One I kind of have already made and committed to, but I mean, the first one is we talked previously. My girlfriend and I are moving in together in June, so that was a whole thing. So I guess we could start with that. Even though I've kind of made a decision with it, maybe it'd be helpful to kind of reevaluate it and kind of go through it and make sure that I made the right decision.
Yeah, that's wise.
I think that could be helpful.
Yeah. Retrospect, and yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's see here. Where can we start? Tell me the story of what made you come to this decision.
Sure. It's gonna be a long story.
Yeah, sure.
So me and Riley is my girlfriend. We met in college 2.5 years ago almost. It was an interesting time because I was fresh out of another relationship with a girl who I liked a lot, but it was kind of amicable. We just didn't think it was working, so we kind of just decided to cut things off. So I was kind of just gonna do my own thing, focus on school and getting in shape and all this stuff. Then I met Riley, and I was like, oh, well, this girl's actually really cool. I really get along with her really well, and we kind of have the same values and the same expectations for our future. I'd be an idiot if I were to pass up an opportunity to get to know this girl and build a relationship with her. So we started dating. She's the year below me, so we kind of always had this understanding of like we're gonna have to do long distance for a little bit. And at first I was like, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. But it was good because we both kind of just at the very beginning acknowledged that was a thing, and we both kind of committed to it before we even really started dating. It was just like, if we do start dating, this is gonna happen. We'll figure it out when it happens. If we do start doing this, we understand that's a problem we're gonna have to go through together. We're gonna do it. So we've always kind of had this mentality of commitment to each other through whatever. And yeah, we kind of decided together, like after a year of being apart, we don't really want to have separation again and not being around each other, and that kind of led to the let's live together, it's good a place together, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So it sounds like this young lady Riley is a very good girl.
Yeah.
And you were able to see that instantaneously when you met her 2.5 years ago after coming off amicably ending relationship,
Yeah.
and both of y'all realized the goodness of each other before y'all even started like dating, and you already like anticipated a long distance, and y'all were already willing to commit to that. And so, where are you right now in the relationship with Riley?
We're good. The long distance stuff has been hard, but I think that's kind of just long distance.
Yeah.
I think that puts a ton of stress on any relationship, even a good relationship. So, I mean, we've had our kind of ups and downs a little bit the past year, but nothing that's really shaken our resolve to each other. And I was talking to her parents about it a couple weeks ago, actually, and I was like, I don't think there's very many girls who I could do long distance with and not explode or not freak out. And I think we've done pretty well with it as far as it is right now. And we've only got a month left of it now, thank God. And now it's the kind of getting away from the stressful long distance stuff, and then okay, what is the future?
Yeah.
But I think we're both optimistic about it. I think we're both looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I think we're in a good spot right now.
Yeah, I hear you. So it sounds like y'all really worked through the stressor of a long distance, and you are ready for it to come to a conclusion. And you're anticipating.
You can say that.
Yeah. And you're greatly anticipating being together as very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Let's go through some checkpoints. So
Sure.
I heard you mention values. So you are in tune to your values when you're coming to decisions.
Yeah.
So in this case, the value is, of course, Riley, and she values you, and y'all both value the relationship. So right now you're reevaluating your decision to get an apartment together with Riley. Okay. So
Not like a questioning my decision making thing, but I just think it's a big decision, and sometimes it's good to think through things multiple times.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe let's see here. Okay. So perhaps we could think about stuff that maybe you're concerned about, maybe potential blind spots.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, yeah, potential. Okay. Well, let's see here.
Well, here, like talking on the blind spots. I think one of the things that's been on my mind is like I kind of said, like this whole long distance thing has been this huge stressor, and it's definitely put a load in our relationship, and then it's transitioning from that to being like in close proximity all the time.
Right.
That's been a thing that's been on my mind. I mean, I think it's gonna be fine. I think we'll adjust back, but that's always been a thing where it's like, is that gonna work?
Yeah.
Is that gonna work?
Yeah.
I think it will. I really do believe it will, but there's always been a thing about that with me.
I think that's a sober, thing to contemplate.
Yeah.
In that regard, what do you think of, like, y'all been in a long distance relationship for a long time, and you're ready for a closer proximity? How about not so close, as far as not moving in together, but but still moving, y'all be in the same city or the same area, and getting 2 different apartments?
Yeah. No, we thought about that, and we talked about it. I think one of the big things with her was that she didn't want to move back in with her parents.
Okay.
I think after you go to college for 4 years and you have independence and your personal autonomy, it's kind of hard to go back to being like bedtimes at 10 o'clock or that kind of stuff. I think it's hard to go back to that. But we did talk about it for a little bit. One of the big reasons why that we kind of got rid of that idea was because financially it's easier for us to split a load of an apartment than it is individually. So like a rent for an apartment in Dallas, 1 bedroom, 1 bath is probably $1,500 to $1,600 for something that's not in a bad neighborhood and it's relatively nice. We kind of figured out, okay, well that's $12,000 to $14,000 a year or you can cut it in half and have it be $750 a month, and that's way more manageable.
Right.
So that was a huge thing that we talked about, and I think we both decided, because I'm in school right now and she's gonna be coming out of school. Her work is gonna be a little bit of a figuring it out when she gets back kind of thing. So having a little bit less financial burden, I think, was a huge factor.
Okay, the financial issue weighed into this decision to move in together.
Yeah.
Have you thought about? I know you have a general estimation of what it looks like for apartments. Have you looked into like cheaper apartments?
Yeah. We explore all of our options. Me personally, I think me and her have a relatively traditional relationship. I don't really want her living in an apartment. That's some of the apartments that we saw that were a lot cheaper.
Okay, yeah.
She's an attractive young lady. I don't think it would be the best environment for her to feel comfortable and safe living in some of the places that we were looking at that would have been separate.
Got it.
At the same time, it's if we were to get two separate apartments, we're going to be spending a lot of time at each other's apartments anyways. So that kind of was like, well, why would we get a separate apartment then? Cause, we're going to be going back and forth regardless. Let's just get one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So let's explore. You had mentioned you had some thoughts about going from long distance to the close proximity, i.e., moving in together.
Yeah.
You expressed some concern about that. What are your concerns in that regard?
I think that where do I even start? Not like that.
Take your
with
time.
A ton of issues or anything, but I think that moving in with a partner is a huge commitment. And it's best to do it when the relationship's in a good place, a strong place, a stable place. If you look at the statistics of couples who move in together pre-marriage and stuff like that, it's not great. So I think that going into that, I would prefer to have more stability and more less stress on our relationship as far as the long distance stuff goes. But I think we'll be fine because we've had stuff like this in the past, like big adjustment, like the long distance thing. That's a huge change, and you want to go into that on good terms. If you go into long distance on bad terms, well, you're not going to see each other for 3 months, so who knows what happens, right? So I think we were able to do that fine, and we were on good terms in that. I think we're on good enough terms right now where moving in together won't be a huge issue, and there won't be any massive butting of heads or anything, but I think there is a learning curve to living with someone, and you want to do that when you're on an upswing, not a downswing, because otherwise on a downswing it could get rocky pretty quickly, if that makes sense.
What do you think those the rocky curve could look like?
Just not getting along well, I think. I'm a big believer that relationships have ups and downs, and there's periods of you're living inside of a rom-com, and there's periods where you're living inside of a horror movie. I think that's natural in a relationship. That's what I've seen in other people's relationships, my parents' relationships. I think it's hard to be with someone and be constantly in love with someone for 35, 40 years. I think at some points you're going to be like, this person is a knife in my side. I don't like them, whatever. But there's the commitment that gets you through it. And then that leads back to the upswings again. But I think yeah, like the downs. If it goes badly, I think we're still, like, we had the commitment to go through the long distance stuff together. I think we're gonna have the commitment to live together and ride it out. It just won't be the most comfortable transition, I think. But I think that we're gonna. I don't think that's an issue that I've been worried too much about. It's been like kind of like a thought in the back of my head, but not really like a anxiety-inducing kind of thing.
Can you please repeat to me the word that you use, rom-com?
Rom-com?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, like a romantic comedy movie?
Okay.
Yeah, we I'm trying to think. I don't know. She makes me watch them, and then I forget about them. But what's a good one? Sleepless in Seattle is a good one, for example. You seen that movie?
I think I've seen parts of it a long time ago. It's been
That's
a real long time.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
But you have periods of time in a relationship, I think, where you're buying flowers and you're getting chocolates and you're going to the movies and holding hands and sharing popcorn and all. I think that, like, you can see the picture I'm painting.
Yeah,
I think there's times where there's that, and then there's times where you're throwing chicken nuggets at each other and you're yelling about taking the garbage out. I think that's natural in a relationship. Does that in your answer?
Yeah, it does actually. Thank you for clarifying that. What do you think about relationship counseling?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's always been a thing where I appreciate it for what it is, and especially being in this field, I understand that it works. I think I have too much of an ego to do it.
Okay.
I don't think I would ever want to do that, because I think that for me, I won't say ego. That's the wrong word. But I think for me, I don't think we have the need for it right now. I think but you can make the case that it's good to do it even when you're in a good spot, just to have upkeep and maintain the relationship and all that stuff. I think for me though, it's why can't I figure this out? Why can't we figure this out on our own? I think you should be able to do that without a third person in the room. I think that's helpful to have a third person in the room and to be like, well, does that make sense? And to challenge each other and help improve things. But I think for me, it means more if you're able to do it by yourself. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. That's the goal of counseling.
Yeah. Not to take away from because I appreciate the research on it and the actual practice of it. I think it's an amazing art. But I think for me personally, I would be extremely uncomfortable with someone telling me like, oh, like the way you're communicating to your wife is not appropriate or something. I would appreciate it more if she were to bring that up to me. If that makes, and that would be more meaningful to me, I think.
Right.
I do appreciate the art form though and the practice of it, but I don't think that we are in a place where we need it.
Got it.
But I mean, if it was like push come to shove, sure. But I think right now, I don't think it's a huge necessity.
Got it. What do you think about sex before marriage?
It's gonna get me in trouble at DBU. I think there's plenty of Christians who have had sex before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I understand the premise of it because of keeping yourself holy and yourself clean and not giving your flesh to another person without being in marriage. But I also think that sometimes in life things happen where I think in a perfect world, yes, like, and we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, where I think in a perfect world, you'd get married in 2 months to the person you want to be with, I think that's true for a lot of people. I think people know, especially I think men know, especially like 3 weeks into dating, I like had this thought like, oh, I want to marry this girl. But I think there's also, we live in a world where getting married is expensive and there's social expectations and there's things that might bar you from doing this. Like, for example, I was talking to Riley's father kind of about, not sex, but about marriage, because her brother's getting married to his girlfriend, or they're going to get engaged in like May or something like that. And I was talking to him about it a little bit, like, oh, like maybe that's in the future for me and Riley, in my head, I'm like, yeah, that is in the future, but I don't want to be too forward with it. But,
Right.
I would have to ask for his permission and his blessing, obviously. And he says, yeah, like, well, once you and Riley have your careers figured out and you guys are stable, then that can be on the table. So I understand that side of things, where there is a portion of, like, in spirit, I feel committed and married to someone, where I don't have a ring on my finger. So I understand that things in that life happen, and so people make that decision to engage in acts before marriage. I'm not going to hold that against anyone. I think if their relationship is pure and they have commitment to each other and intentions are where they should be, I think it's hard for me to tell. I don't think that like having a one night stand is a good thing for anyone. I think that's it takes away from who you are as a person, and morally it's not acceptable. But I also understand that things happen. I'm not sure if that makes sense or what you think about that, but
Well, I think you did a good job expressing what you think about it. What do you think Riley's dad thinks about you and Riley moving in potentially next month?
sure. I think they're supportive of it. I think they understand the financial side of things and the decision making process as we've explained it to them. Where, like I was saying earlier, like the rent's cheaper. We've done the distance apart, and we feel like we're responsible. We want to be back together and not be separate. I think her parents also have seen the man that I am, and they understand that I'm not trying to take advantage of their daughter in any way, or that I'm just here for the good times and not the bad times, or however you want to put it.
Right.
I think that they wouldn't have given us their blessing if they weren't in support of it. And I mean, yeah, that's one of the things with Riley's brother, where that's one of the big reasons why they're getting married, is because her family, his girlfriend, her family is very much like, oh, you should be married before you move in together, and so that's the process they're going through. So their parents have been exposed to that idea, and they're not forced now. They're not as traditional in that regard, I guess. So I mean, to me, it feels like they're supportive. They came and toured the apartment with us, and they were excited for us, and they've expressed nothing but good feelings towards it. So I think they're supportive. I hope they're supportive. But yeah.
Her mom too.
Her mom loves it.
All right.
Her mom, I think her mom's more excited for us than her dad. But yeah, her mom and me get along really well. Her dad is I think he likes. It's hard to read him because he's a SWAT officer for Dallas SWAT.
Oh wow.
He's ex-military and all this stuff. So he's always kind of been a hard guy to read. But I think also at the same time, on the other hand, he would have made it clear if he was against it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of man he is, I think. So yeah.
What branch of the military? Do you remember?
I want to say he was Army, could have been Navy. I always forget. I think he was Army. He was a sniper.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. When me and Riley first met, she's like, "Oh, my dad's a police officer." Da 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 da. And I'm like, "Well, that'll be a fun guy to meet one day." And because you hear all the stereotypes of like meeting the Texas dad with, you go in and all the guns are on the table and it's like, what are you doing? What are your intentions with my dog? So that was the whole thing in my mind that I was like scared about. And then we were watching Mission Impossible, and these guys are grappling down the side of a building with their AR-15s or whatever. And she's like, oh, that's what my dad does. That's what my dad does. And I was like, what? I was like, your dad's not a police officer. What are you talking about? But yeah, I mean, he's a fascinating guy. He's tons of crazy stories. I think I think you would have made it very clear if you like, you're not.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, what are you? So it sounds like you're leaning toward sticking with the decision you've already made.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've committed to it, and I'm looking forward to it. I guess the reason why I brought it up was, what's the after thing? I think if it goes well, which I think it will, I hope it will go well. What's next is like marriage and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been an interesting thing.
What do you think will be next in reference to what you should be?
Well, I mean, that's down the road, maybe a year and a half ish. But I think live together, finish my schooling, get my career, at least the plans of my career going and doing the EPPP and all this stuff, and start working a little bit, and then seriously talking about marriage and spending the rest of our lives together. I think it's always been a thing for me as a man. I think I feel like I would never want to ask a woman to spend the rest of her life with me unless I am able to give her safety and support and be able to provide, which unfortunately right now that means financially. But I think all those things are things that I would expect if I was a girl looking for a guy, and that's a huge thing that I've had to think about. Is like, that's like I said earlier, it's like, yeah, it's 2 months in, this girl's awesome, I spend the rest of my life with her. I would not want to ask her to marry me or spend the rest of her life with me until I can show her that I am a man who's worthy of that commitment.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the next steps looking forward. we'll see what that looks like with career and finishing school and all that stuff. Who knows? But yeah.
I hear you. Well, Mike, it sounds like you are being very self-aware of what you are doing, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going through making the decision in a cautious way. So
Yeah.
I encourage you to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Thank
good
you.
job.
Appreciate that. Oh, we're out of time?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the session.
Yeah,
man.
looking forward to the
Appreciate
next session.
it. Yes, sir. Yes,
God
sir.
bless you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Clock out.